Welcome back to all the subscribers. NFL Auction Draft Strategy 2020, because we have to do it. I'm just setting this up as a conversation today. We're going to have an NFL Fantasy Auction Draft conversation about sheet building and doing things a little bit differently. I can't just come in and just do quarterbacks and wide receivers and tight ends. I can't do it that way. I want to do it differently. I want to win leagues and I want to win auction drafts. So get your Excel spreadsheet out. You know how we do this. Get your Excel sheet out. I'm going to start giving you some pointers and taking you into the lab. And I'm not going to hide the ball from you. We're just going to lay out how I'm breaking it down this year and some things I'm seeing, but most importantly, the strategies I'm taking into the auction draft. And I'm trying to revolutionize it a little bit. I look back on last season and I think, let's pay up for high quality wide receivers. And I really paid the price there because guess what? Wide receivers are dependent on quarterback health. And we have some really devastating stories about what happened to a Juju Smith-Schuster and other players like that don't have quarterback protection. So just getting you ready for the preparation soup that goes into this. There will never be that one metric that says it all, or one ADP draft list that you can trust. But I'm taking in the whole narrative. You got to look at the whole universe of offensive line ratings, standings, points for, points against, team statistics. The depth charts. The depth charts in the movement. And then you've got to make some decisions on the depth charts. How is this going to play out? Historic stats, historic year-to-year stats. What guys have, what's possible, what have they done before? Combining that with your movement. Game logs. Got to get into game logs. Some more analytical stats like yards per target, catch percentage, QB rating. Gonna have to get into some of those. College tape. I'm trying to get rookies. I'm trying to get rookie running backs. I'm trying to have my heart broken by rookie wide receivers just in case a Randy Moss shows up on the scene. So we're looking at college tape, size, burst, agility, running style, receiving style, ball skills, and general college dominance. Just want to point you to some websites. There's a lot out there. It's very evolving. You've got DFS. You've got fantasy just blowing up. So you've got Pro Football Focus, PFF. I found The Huddle. I found Football Outsiders. The key horse that I'm riding to the finish line so far has been NFL Reference. So that's pro-football-reference.com all day. Roto World for health, NFL.com for the basics. So you're going to have to get those things open. Get your sheet out and get your sheet ready. And let me just set this up. This is by no means complete. But the only way we're going to really be able to tighten up our auction draft strategy is for me to get in there and get into the auctions and see what it's like, so that we're not just getting blindsided the first time. And a lot of times going through the auction is where I learned that I have to tighten up my research. That I get caught late in the draft not knowing, is it this guy, is it this guy? Should I pay 25 or should it 15? And then I can go back to the research and sort some of that out. But I've been sorting. I've been making my sheet and I feel like I'm ready. It's 2:30 right now. I have an auction draft going off at 7 p.m. tonight. Just signed up. Yahoo free auctions. And I'm going to get in there and I'm going to push some people around. And I'm going to advance my strategy. And here is the strategy this season, boys. I'm not going to hide the ball from you. We're going to get to players afterwards. But this whole thing is about getting a feel for players, getting a feel for player movement, getting a feel for where they are in their evolution. And my singular comment this year is the outliers set the bell. The outliers set the bell. The bell curve is a statistical distribution of where players fall in. And one of my critiques as a segue on statistics generally is that if we don't like the outliers, we'll chop them. We'll just chop them off the data. Oh, that's an outlier. Have an excuse. But you can't chop the outliers off. They set where the bell is. The outliers are the key. And so I'm basing my strategy this season about getting those outliers, getting those number one players. Let me talk about the two of them right now. We'll just jump right into the list, so I don't tease it too far, and you can start getting your head around this. I go down on my sheet about 40 lines. I set a royal blue bar, and this is just elite, ridiculous studs. And there are two names above this bar because what happens? There's so many tiers, and there are just so many wide receivers, and it's just muddied for you to be able to sort this out. But above this first bar, I've got two names, Lamar Jackson and blue-eyed Christian McCaffrey. These two gentlemen are just heads and shoulders above the rest of the league. We've got Lamar Jackson on average. So this, we're drafting for skills. So whether it's PPR, half point PPR, or just touchdown, whether it's 2 QB, whether there's deep rosters, multiple flex, I'm not going to get that caught up in that. I'm in different types of leagues. I've got a generic rating scale that's going to help me navigate all those. So I'm not going to get hung up on that. We are going to be prepared for 2 QB leagues, for QB flex. But Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey put up approximately 421 and 413 points last season. We need points. We need points to win leagues. By the time we get down to your next, studs of Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, and Ezekiel Elliott, 290, 285, 284 points. Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey are what is that, 25% stronger of point scorers? Those guys are in a class of their own. And so right off the bat, Christian McCaffrey going for $75, but Lamar going for only $40, while a whole host of backs are going for 60, 50, and 60, and I'm on Yahoo average auction drafts. And right off the bat, Lamar Jackson's too cheap at $40. He's going to dominate the league again. You've got a whole quarterback and a running back to boot with him. And the reason his price is down is because we've got this ancient rhetoric lurking through fantasy football leagues talking about devaluing the QB because you can find so many. Well, as soon as you're in a 2 QB league, that's gone. And if you look at the points every season, QBs are still delivering the most points unless they're being nerfed. Dak Prescott 350, Deshaun Watson 332. Two guys that I mentioned right now because I don't want to wait forever and end up with a Matt Ryan. So quarterbacks still matter to me. I'm not just trying to be the last guy to get a QB and be in a streaming nightmare all season. But Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey. So this is the strategy part one. Christian McCaffrey, if I'm paying for Christian McCaffrey, it's not really so much about me having a number that I'm willing to spend or not willing to spend, because my plan in this auction is to let the room tell me how much is Christian McCaffrey mean to you. I'm just paying for the number one pick, because my strategy in the draft, after I get this stud player, that's going to lead to a lot of aggression. There's going to be a lot of people who thought they could get Christian, but they can't. And so when Christian edges up, look who's next. Saquon Barkley at 72, Ezekiel Elliott at 62, and Alvin Kamara at 60, who I think is a mistake at that price. That price is all going to edge up because the outliers set the bell. And especially when we bring in my mild taxation theory, as Christian comes out and I get him for, let's say, $85. I believe we're going with a $200 stack. Somebody takes me to $95. I'll do it again to Saquon, and I'll tax. Obviously, I can't have two running backs by themselves for my entire stack of $180 and then no players if I got hung up, but I'll push them up, and then I'll push up Zeke, and then I'll push up Derrick Henry. And so the relative gap is what I'm concerned about. And there are a lot of mistakes. There are a lot of mistakes in the league. And I think waiting and not overpaying for an elite, above the first royal blue line player like Lamar Jackson or Christian McCaffrey is like you just paying to get on the cusp. You're just pushing yourself onto the cusp, onto the question marks and the concerns. And so many players come in with concerns and so few have no concerns. I have no concern over Lamar Jackson. Nothing about regression, nothing at all. I see a massive step forward. Christian McCaffrey, just workhorse levels of running and receiving. And sure, there's a QB change as Cam is out and Teddy Bridgewater is brought in. And we'll have to look more at Teddy as we get further. And there's one other player here who is slightly not undervalued. I mean, of course, Michael Thomas going for $55. But Michael Thomas is a lock. He had 300 points as a receiver. The next receiver, gosh, if I go to the list, I want to say something like 220. So Michael Thomas is way above the next set of receivers because Drew is just force feeding him for first downs, touchdown upside, the whole package. And this is a new element I'm bringing in this year is quarterback wide receiver insurance. Looking at the backup QB. So even if old man Drew Brees goes down with something silly like smashing a finger into a helmet, they brought in Winston. Jameis will be in there gunning and slinging it around. So my player is not going to disappear like Juju Smith-Schuster did last season. And so I like a Michael Thomas there. Those three guys are just undeniable and worth spending all the way up. Okay. If you don't have the stomach for that, let me just touch on team construction. I want to concentrate a little bit here. I'm looking at the Yahoo rosters. It's QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. I mean, it's not very deep. So I'm not trying to make the deepest team. I know that there are going to be injuries. I know that I'm going to be able to hit waivers. And I know that part of my strategy is to pay up and snipe for rookie running backs and running backs that could steal jobs. And I'm talking about a Dillon at Green Bay and a J.K. Dobbins at Baltimore, that these guys just look so studly that they might be undeniable as job stealers. So I'm going to fight up taking these tops guys. Taxing is going to make my players matter because I think there's a gap. Let me just go to another one. Let me go to the wide receiver pricing here. I think you have to ask yourself where you're going to get stuck. And this is more so true. Let's stick with Christian McCaffrey. So Christian McCaffrey is 75, but Saquon is 72. Yes, Saquon is good, but the Giants' line was not good. Daniel Jones is the QB. Saquon's amazing ceiling. For talent, yes. For breakout plays, yes. But Christian McCaffrey is probably more than $3 better than Saquon. And I can deal with Saquon and Zeke at 62. But Alvin Kamara at 60? The gap between Kamara and, let's say, Zeke is more than $3. So if somebody runs Zeke up to 70, I don't want to get pushed off and then feel like I've got to go play top dollar for Kamara as we're all getting desperate to not get left out of this RB conversation. Derrick Henry is approaching the curse of the 300 carries, of the 300 touch regression that these guys start to wear down or suddenly a team wants to save them. And so just generally the difference. And yes, I did go into a protest on fantasy baseball this season and didn't want to take it serious. But the stats in the NFL, as much as we try to demand year-to-year metrics or understand players or have control or look for that predictive stat, we just can't do it in the NFL. And there's multiple reasons for that. Number one is injury. Guys getting injured and being just drastically changed in how they're able to physically compete or how they miss games. Another reason would be small sample size. It's 16 games. By the time we see a trend, it's over. The nature of the NFL is a lot of deception. I mean, it's one thing to just give the ball to Luka Doncic and Bronny and just let him go to work every single play in a scoring-friendly NBA league game after game. But in the NFL, if you just say you're going to one player, a double team ends that. So touchdown dependence, like we need touchdowns, and the guys that blow it from year to year is touchdowns, but the most finicky stat is touchdowns. And yardage alone isn't going to get us there. And not only is it your player that could get injured, your offensive lineman could get injured. Your QB could get injured. Suddenly, your tandem wide receiver is getting injured, and now you're getting all the attention. So the injury risk is vast. Players are just aging. They're just aging out. You have a few good years at running back. At 30, you can't compete anymore. What coaching changes, system changes galore. There's so many top players. I mean, look at a Keenan Allen. There's just a quick contrast. Keenan Allen is losing the gunslinger Phillip Rivers, and he's gaining the game manager Tyrod Taylor. I can't look at him the same way, so there has to be mistakes in there. T.Y. Hilton had to deal with Jacoby Brissett last season, but now he gets the gunslinger Phillip Rivers. And that's not really reflected in the numbers. The obvious stuff is panning out. People are excited for Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay. And Chris Godwin's getting the boost, but maybe not enough because he's not gained the respect as a number one wide receiver yet. But Mike Evans is going to be just recatapulted into the top elite, and those prices are in there. But there is so much mistake at wide receiver. So going deeper into my plan, going in and getting elite players, tempted to try to get Christian McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson in the same draft. Spending most of my money on that because I know that I can find tremendous value at wide receiver late because there are just so many names to sort through. We've got 30-year wide receivers. What do you do with AJ Green? Is that going to get any better? Like I said, TY, I've got some breakout guys. So that's my plan there. I'm going to give you my takes player-wise into the next tier on who are locks. But even with locks, guys are changing teams. There remains unknowns. Is Nick Foles going to be better than Trubisky? Is he going to maintain Robinson 2's numbers this season? What's going to happen with DJ Moore? The list goes on. All right, let's jump into the players. So as we keep going down the list, Lamar, McCaffrey, Thompson. Now in this next group, a light blue bar, I needed about 20 rows, and I like to space the players out. I like to give them a space between each one so I can really read the name and associate the player. And I think at running back, you have obviously Ezekiel Elliott. Saquon Barkley, yes, we're going to go again there. And then who I really like here is Dalvin Cook. I'm going to be high on. That kind of comes from prices wise that Dalvin's going for 58. The guys that I'm foregoing are a little bit laying off of Derrick Henry and laying off of Alvin Kamara. And we've got to start to look at size and run style. Kamara benefited from Ingram slamming the rock and softening up defenses. And then the Saints went well and he was a change of pace back. But I've got a little surprise. Kamara isn't ready to handle 260 carries, 275 carries. It's not coming on the ground for Kamara. He caught a bad concussion. His run style he's very hard to tackle, but he's not extremely fast. He's hard to take down, but not extremely elusive. And so I just think the love affair with Kamara for $60 is a trap where Latavius Murray's in there and poaching some goal line work. And we're overspending. Derrick Henry, we saw him featured in the playoffs last season. But you got to mention this rookie, Darrynton Evans. Darrynton Evans, who's going to catch passes, who might take a little bit of that 300 carry workload off of Derrick Henry, and who Derrick Henry sometimes got bottled up. And I know he started to really roll late in the season and roll through the playoffs. But to really spend the $68 when I could just go up and get Christian for 10 more? Go up and get Christian. That's what I'm saying. Go up and get the ridiculous player. Even Saquon, does he deserve to be up that high? I'm not sure. So the guy I really like in that next tier is Dalvin. And really, I'm looking at Aaron Jones. And I have him in this group because The touchdowns were crazy. The big breakout games were crazy. He's gonna get receptions. He's gonna move the ball well off receptions. He's got Aaron Rodgers, so the whole system, everything looks good to pay up for an Aaron Jones at about $43. My concern is A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon is a Sparks freak. This is a speed-adjusted ratings quotient or something that you can find on Roto about how big a player is with the agility and the explosiveness. And A.J. Dillon is explosive. He's going to be backing up Aaron there. I believe he's going to make Jamal Williams irrelevant. But it's hard for me to think that A.J. Dillon might not splash onto the scene. This guy is a big, fast, hard-running beast. And that is he not going to pull a little bit from Aaron Jones? What if Aaron Jones doesn't get to 16 touchdowns again rushing? Are they just going to give him the full plate load, boatload of carries and not work in a young A.J. Dillon? And so I get concerned there, and I at least know. So when I'm carrying my running backs, I have Henry up here in this group. I've got A.J., Aaron Jones up here, and I carry the handcuff with him so that as I can eliminate these guys as the draft is going on, I can see who the handcuff is. Maybe if I don't get the player, maybe I snipe the handcuff. And obviously for keeper leagues, I love those rookie running backs. In this group, and this is too high for QB, I don't think you'll be paying up here because the prices drop, but I've got 4 QBs that especially in a 2 QB league, I don't want to fall much lower than Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson. Talking a little bit about those situations. Mahomes' season of 50 touchdowns was amazing. But did the league figure him out a little bit? You can't just throw for 50 touchdowns. That's not how easy the league is. We can look at touchdown leaders from last season and see how many touchdowns are really possible. 36. 4 guys did 30. The 2 of them were Russell and Dak. Jameis Winston doesn't even start. And he was throwing picks with his. So, 27, you might not get it all from Patty Mahomes. I hate to be tarnishing him like this because I really like him. But it's not just, he's not just going to destroy the league. Dak Prescott threw a lot. He threw a lot. He threw for nearly 5,000 yards. He had 30 touchdowns. He picked up CeeDee Lamb. You've got Amari Cooper elite. Gallup emerged as possession, probably breakout candidate elite with CeeDee Lamb, with Ezekiel Elliott, with the top-rated line in the league. And I think you've got to give a little bit more effort into getting a Dak Prescott, not leaving a draft with somewhat of an elite QB. He's 3rd in points scored last year, so let's not completely shame QBs out of the discussion. You're happy to skip on Dak because you're ready to just, deal with Roethlisberger off of an elbow injury. Rusty Wilson wants to be more aggressive. He's got weapons in DK Metcalf and the emergence of Tyler Lockett and a running game that's decent, and always a Deshaun Watson who is a slinger from year to year. And Deshaun's in a weird situation too. He lost Hopkins. We gained a Cooks and Stills and the off-injured Will Fuller. But these are some QBs that are offering just a little bit more. I'm going to go into this next group below that first basket of players. We got to touch on the wide receivers. So DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, yes. Is there any reason to be concerned with DeAndre? Yes, he's going to the Cardinals. He's leaving Deshaun Watson, and he's going over to Kyler Murray. Is Kyler going to deliver everything that Watson was delivering? Is it really Hopkins' skill? And Hopkins is 27. 20 is 28 too old for me? I start to get tempted for that. Robinson, too, I have up in that group because the targets were so high. And if you go to Pro Football Reference, you can go under seasons. You can go under receiving for 2019, and that gives you the basic thing to look at. You've got targets. Another thing I'm sorting here is first downs, because that lets me know that a guy is the go-to guy. I don't want someone disappearing for large sections of game, for tight games, for late in games, and you see an Allen Robinson with 63 first downs. He's the first player on there, followed by Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas. So I can have some confidence that Robinson, too, is going to continue to get fed. He's probably part of that scheme, that offensive scheme to keep getting it. He's 26 years old. Godwin and Julio Jones. And Godwin is going to be, he's broken out. He had touchdown upside, 1,300 yards, 63 first downs. He's bringing in the GOAT, Tom Brady, who is likely going to try to make another statement here on a team that's going to throw a lot. And so I've got Godwin way up as a number one. But the funny thing is, Godwin's coming at a little bit of value. If you're willing to let Godwin be your number one, what did he go for here? Not really. I mean, $32 as opposed to seeing what Tyreek Hill's going to give you again, to see how Julio Jones's feet are doing for $42. I'm comfortable with Godwin and what's going to happen here. If I see a mistake that jumps out is Odell Beckham at 26. I get a little concerned there. Another stat to look at as you're sorting your wide receivers, targets you've got to love, but catch percentage. And I see a little flaw in Odell Beckham's armor with the catch percentage of 55.6. I mean, catch percentage of mid-60 is good, of 70 is more elite, where, quote, QB can have confidence continuing to pepper these players. So that's my group there. And we get into the next tier, and here you have to be paying in here. You have to be leaving drafts with some of these guys. Let's start with the running back conversation and why they make me nervous and why I'm not ready to pay all the way up for some of these RBs. Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's a stud. Nick Chubb has it all going for him, but he's got one issue, and it's Kareem Hunt. And Hunt, after the suspension comes in, he was vulturing receptions. Chubb's not going to catch more balls. What if Chubb and Hunt split a little bit more carries? I don't know that Chubb is necessarily going to get better. I get nervous that he's going to get a little bit worse. And he's a $50 player. When I could have Dalvin for $58 or $60, I've got to go up and get Dalvin. I've got to pay what it takes to get Dalvin because Dalvin's getting a full serving of everything. He's going to be running it and catching it as long as the body holds up. Another one would be Joe Mixon is on this list at $50. Yes, I love Joe. I love Joe's running style. Joe's a big boy at about 6'1". Joe can receive. He doesn't necessarily have top-end speed, but it's decent. But now he's got a rookie quarterback, and he has not a very good line at the Cincinnati Bengals, and so I'm a little concerned there. Why not clear that up and go up for Dalvin? I like Leonard Fournette again. I have Alvin Kamara here, Mixon, and somebody who's really blowing up for people is Kenyon Drake because of what Kenyon flashed at the end of the last season. So now you've got to decide, really, what is this Arizona team going to do? Is it going to be a blow-up year? And I pushed Drake into here. I trust that Drake has high-end speed. He's a one-cut runner. He's a little nifty. He can catch. And he's going to be getting the whole serving in the backfield there. So I do like a Kenyon Drake that I'm high on. But he did it for like 3 games. Hopkins is going to open the field. Hopkins is going to improve the game for Kirk. Drake is going to get the benefit of the field being stretched. You're staying on offense. And so I have him there. The couple wide receivers, I have Keenan Allen up here, but I'm nervous. So suddenly I'm down on Keenan Allen. I really think that Tyrod Taylor is going to destroy Keenan Allen's value. Will Keenan Allen just survive because he's so good, because his route running is so crisp, because he's 6'2"? And he's going to get separation, and Tyrod's just going to find him. But Tyrod is just so inaccurate, and I fear a terrible regression for a Keenan Allen. Is it built into the price? Yes, people have done the same thing. You see Keenan going for almost nothing at $8. We'll have to see that, what happens there. But here are some players that I remain high on, and just the third-year wide receiver legacy, you'd have to go to the draft class of 2018, see who's on that list. But my favorite guy for an absolute explosion is DJ Moore. DJ Moore is being gone to for first downs. He's explosive after the catch. He has high catch percentage. And I think after him really exploding last season, there could be more there. And I started to look, so DJ Moore brings in a Robbie Anderson, a field stretcher. Is Robbie going to steal from DJ? Or is he going to free up DJ? And then you've got Curtis Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. The only real question here is your feelings on a Teddy Bridgewater. And I think I'm leaning to be high on a Teddy Bridgewater. I don't want to live there in a 1 QB league. But in a 2 QB, he's obviously an upside pick. Maybe he's your third guy. You're not going to have to spend a lot because nobody's really a believer. But Teddy was just breaking out in Minnesota before he had his leg destroyed. And he's probably not as fast as he once was. But he learned some things in New Orleans studying under Drew Brees and the coaching over there. And he comes into an offense with just weapons all around him. Extremely high on DJ Moore. Amari Cooper? Yeah, absolutely. I'm high on Amari Cooper. Dak Prescott's throwing it around. They've got to deal with Ezekiel Elliott. This team is going to stay on offense. We have not seen the best of Amari Cooper yet. So I'm going to live there all day. Another all-day player is Kenny Golladay. Matthew Stafford, the Lions, but Kenny Golladay is showing that the yardage is going to be there and he's a touchdown threat. And so just segueing into receivers and touchdowns and size. Size is starting to matter in the league. Cornerbacks are being drafted and played for speed and to be really fast and agile and to move around in zones and to not get beat deep and to make plays, you've got to be fast. It helps to be shorter. But what we're seeing is some taller wide receivers like a Kenny Golladay. Even Keenan is fairly tall. Allen Robinson is 6'2". DJ Shark is 6'4". But some of these guys can be fed in the end zone in a one-on-one matchup. We know it's going to Kenny, but Kenny went up higher than everybody. And so I do believe that Kenny Galladay's touchdown upside remains there. Devontae Adams, who was just being force-fed by Aaron Rodgers play after play after play. He lacked a little bit of touchdown upside. I've got Evans from the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then probably a Tyreek Hill, who again I'm mixed on because yes, Tyreek with gaudy yardage totals, decent for targets, but Cheetah is a small 5'9", 5'10", lightning fast receiver who can't go up and get it in the red zone. And as you get close to the goal line, the 5, the 10, right up against it, trying to get separation is one thing, but there's fast linebackers and they're zoning off and the DBs are fast. So Tyreek may be lacking a little bit of that upside. And like I said, there are just so many wide receivers. What is the price on Tyreek Hill? $47, the third most expensive wide receiver. I don't think I can do it. Kenny Golladay is $26. He's half the price. Mike Evans and Allen Robinson are 25, going for 25 or 23. It's just hard to know. And so talking about the auction and what I'm seeing for prices, you get a projected value from the draft bots. And then the average cost is what these guys are likely going for. But that's shifting with news throughout the season. It's shifting depending on the room. So you've got to build $10 cushions in here. But like I said, I'm looking at the landscape. I'm looking at the bell. And I want to take a strategy in to win and to dominate leagues. And what I'm seeing is so much overpay on high-end players. This isn't baseball's $260. This is $200. So players are spending so much on the running back war, so much on high-end players, that the cliff is gigantic. The prices fall down. Adam Thielen was projected at 36. He's going for 23. A.J. Brown, who I am extraordinarily high on, is going for 33. It projected at 33. He's going for 17. I mean, even Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, 23, 22 on the projections, going for 8 and 9. And what this is saying is drafts are getting excited They're going for their player, and they're running out of money. But the value, this is the key, this is my key point this season. The value isn't going to be found in questionable running back play. Just one example here as we deal with some of the league changes. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay now sharing touches. What a disaster. Philip Lindsay was looking like a stud. Melvin Gordon has been a stud. Melvin Gordon 3 is going to be the better receiver. Is Gordon the lead back? I'm reading things that he just stole the lead back job, but his yards per carry is low. And so now you're getting caught spending 25, 23, mid-value money on running backs who might disappoint you or be hard to manage. 21 for a Melvin Gordon. Maybe Philip Lindsay has been completely destroyed here. But if you go to the wide receiver list, and let's do that. Let's jump down to the next tier. So that was another group of elite players. I've got a big green bar, and here is the good players, the pieces that I continue to need to trust. They're going to round out whole teams. And it's just a wide receiver nightmare. There are so many guys. Let me just rattle the names off to you to get them into your head. That, like I said, this is early. I've got an auction in 4 hours. I feel somewhat ready, but this is auction draft strategy. I need to bring the real nuance to you about what's happening in the auction so you can dominate yours. Cooper Kupp, Woods, Kupp with touchdown upside, Woods getting more first downs. Calvin Ridley, complete blow-up third-year receiver on his way. I'm loving pieces of that. But then Lockett, Parker, with the questionable QB situation with Fitzpatrick, but still got it done. Remember Adam Thielen? I've named all these receivers, and now Adam Thielen? Remember Juju Smith-Schuster? When does the list stop? Juju Smith-Schuster? Is Big Ben ready? Is he back? Is Juju going to run the show again? It's not done yet. You've got to respect Sutton getting thrown to by Locke. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Tyler Boyd is real. Stephon Diggs, remember him? Remember the flawless route runner Stephon Diggs? And how he can catch the ball, but he's dealing with Josh Allen. The inaccurate Josh Allen. What are you going to do? There's more names that we haven't even gotten to here. Odell Beckham Jr., do you remember him? And Baker I Do Commercials Mayfield? What are you going to do with the price there? Let me jump back because I know Odell just off of Legend, $26. The wide receiver cliff starts early. It goes 5 receivers: Thomas, Adams, Hill, Hopkins, Julio. Chris Godwin at 32, kind of a middle point. And then guys are going for mid-20s. Galladay, Odell Beckham, who I'm a little bit down on. DJ Shark, the emerging stud, 6'4". Tyler Minshew showed some good pocket presence, and Shark can go up above everybody else to get touchdowns. Remember AJ Green? Is he over the foot injuries? Can he stay healthy? Is Burrow the real deal? AJ Brown went for 1,000 yards as a second-year wide receiver with Tannehill. He's made Corey Davis just irrelevant. AJ Brown is a beast. He's a football player. He's physically dominant. And what was really exciting about him was his yards per target. Back into your Pro Football Reference, and I know it's all over. We're just getting our feet wet here a little bit, our toes wet. Yards per target, number 3. Let's start in reverse order. Number 6, Kenny Galladay. Big guy going deep for Matt Stafford. Number 4, Chris Godwin, working downfield. Mike Williams, Stephon Diggs. And number 1 is A.J. Brown. I mean, I think I could be happy with A.J. Brown as a number 1. He's only going for $17. What a discount there. I have a lot of respect for Michael Gallup, who is going to be all by himself in one-on-one matchups with people dealing with Amari Cooper and dealing with Zeke in the box. And then you got CD working the slot. Prescott throwing it all around the yard. So Gallup is going to be easy money. DK Metcalf, a physical monster who I've got to love. But then here's a mistake, Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman, is he going to be, he was really good last season, but he lost the GOAT. The GOAT left and went to Tampa Bay. So Julian Edelman is just, I want no part of that. Sure, he could have been good in that system. Maybe Bill finds a way to work with him, but we don't know. Is it going to be Jason Stidham or is it going to be Cam Newton? And if it's Cam, I can feel a little better about Edelman. If it's Stidham, I don't. McLaurin looks like a beast, but he's got to deal with the Redskins, who just look like a completely trash team, and Haskins is not going to throw much, but McLaurin is so good that he's getting separation. He's the only option. He's a great target. Remember T.Y. Hilton? What is T.Y. Hilton? $7 put out at $18. He's got a questionable tag. He's probably dinged up. Going for only $7? That is a steal. All the numbers that went to Keenan Allen, that supported Allen and supported Mike Williams, came from the arm of Rivers. And now Rivers is going to be thrown to T.Y. So T.Y. is going for free. That's what I mean by the late mistakes here. DJ Shark for 9. Stephon Diggs for 6. Gallup for 4. Tyler Boyd for 3. These guys are there. The money just isn't going to late receiver. I'll round it out with the John Brown and the Landry. And so that portion of wide receivers is why I came up with the strategy. Super high-end, elite RB, set the curve. Get out of the mess. Get out of the high-end RB concerns where I might get disappointed. Be able to save my money. Go back and get late wide receiver where there's tons of value. And have a strong quarterback. Have a realistic option at quarterback. There's some guys that can't be forgotten here. It's going to be Tommy Brady, who I think has a lot to prove with weapons galore all around him on a team that throws. Drew Brees, who's just doing yardage and throwing every season. And I like a Carson Wentz. I like an Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to fall much lower than that on the wide receiver end because I'm starting to not be excited. Okay, I'm high on Rivers, sure. But I'm not high on Ryan or Goff or Roethlisberger or Garoppolo. So ending with Rodgers and Wentz, who are going for $5 or $10 or going for nothing, get in there and get some of that so you have some upside. But let's talk about these running backs over here. Chris Carson, sure. I've always thought Carson was explosive. There was the Roto Underworld just always trashing Carson, saying he didn't have bursts of explosiveness. But when you watch Carson, he runs hard. He takes long strides. He's a good runner. I'm a little concerned that Carlos Hyde is over there, just the career vulture of yardage and goal line work. Ingram too, yeah, in the Ravens setup. But he's more so here because I love J.K. Dobbins, the rookie, who it just comes out on Roto World today that Dobbins says he's going to try to steal the job. He's going to come into camp. He said, and if I do what I'm going to do, which started with him in college saying he wanted to be the best running back in all of college football and force his way onto the field, Ingram's getting a little old. And Dobbins looks like a stud. I've got Miles Sanders here. And nobody has looked at Miles Sanders more than I have because I have him as a potential keeper, a 5th-round keeper in my keeper league this year, and I need to find out where I'm at with him. And I'll make a little segue here that I had a Christian McCaffrey, and I could have kept a Christian McCaffrey, and I just said, and I thought I could get him again the next season, and the way the keepers worked out, I missed him by 2 picks. And it still hurts. You know, we're a couple seasons into this now, and every season I got to go, there's my boy Christian McCaffrey, and I didn't keep him because I didn't know what I was doing. And now I'm looking at it with Miles Sanders, and I'm wondering, does he have it? Does he have this Eagles backfield to himself? Miles Sanders is starting to remind me of a little bit of, dare I say, Le'Veon Bell with his patience and his ability to catch out of the backfield. I've looked at everything. I've looked at his combine scores. I've looked at college tape, pro tape. I like a Miles Sanders, and I don't want to have that bias that I'm falling in love with him because he's on my team and I could keep him, and so I'm just convincing myself. But he came on hot at the end of the last season. Keeping going on this list of running backs, and then you can see how it's going to pan out. I've got Lev Bell, 27, took a little bit of tread off the tires when he took a break. Okay. What are you going to do with Gurley 2? I'm a little cold on Gurley 2. He still gets respect. I loved him when he was young. I think he's got degenerative knee. You got Ito Smith backing him up. The Falcons should be decent and throw a lot. So you got to think about Gurley 2. Do you want to be there getting Gurley 2? Is that who you like there? Josh Jacobs. I mean, Gurley 2 for $22. Okay. Josh Jacobs going for $43. And sure, he gets the backfield to himself, and he says he wants to catch 60 passes. What is this Raiders team going to look like? But 43? Should I go up and get Kenyon Drake for 44? Who's in a little bit more explosive offense? So I think when you're looking at the prices, you've got to look at relatively who you're going to be stuck with if you don't go buy your player. I mentioned Gordon and Lindsey. Here's a player I'm very high on at the Bills. So if we're going to be high on Josh Allen because he got Diggs and John Brown emerged, Devin Singletary has the backfield to himself. He's very small. He's 5'8", 5'8" or 5'9", but that doesn't mean he's not very strong and have a lot of moves. And so what we're seeing is as the league has gotten bigger, as linemen have gotten so big, micro backs have a role in the league of being small and powerful, being able to navigate tiny holes and tiny gaps. And Devin Singletary really does that. He came on late at the end of the season, and what shocked me with Devin was a 5 yard average, yards per carry, average of 5 for Singletary, who's going to be getting all of it. And so I'm good with, I love Singletary for $13. I'll take that all day. He's going to turn out to be a $40 player probably later. I think Austin Eckler is maybe the biggest mistake in the draft as he goes for $38. He's the last running back after Jacobs, Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler for $38. And that's Austin Eckler is my guy to nominate into the draft. I want somebody else to own Eckler. He didn't get it from running the ball. His whole value was in receiving. But now he's got Tyrod, and I think his value could just disappear depending on what the system looks like. I mean, Tyrod's not even that accurate on checkdowns. So I want no part of Eckler for that price. There is so much stronger value below that. I mean, Fournette for 17, are you kidding me? We've got to deal with David Johnson, who is going to be force-fed carries at the Texans this season as Hopkins left, and now David Johnson is in, and Hyde is out, and Duke Johnson isn't going to steal carries. So what happened to David? I mean, David hurt a wrist, and I was like, oh, well, it's just his wrist. He'll be able to run. It's almost like he's become scared to run or gun-shy, or the rehabilitation process was so scary that like he just doesn't want to do this anymore. I don't know what David Johnson has left, but if he has anything left, this is the season for it in this system where he's likely to get 260 carries. I don't think you can just leave this forever. We've got a Devonta Freeman who's decent, who's just roaming around free agency. Kind of have to keep an eye on where he lands. And probably my last running back in this tier that you really have to live in is the combination of Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack. I think Jonathan Taylor is a special player. He's going for $20. You've got to deal with Marlon Mack. He's not named the starter, but Indianapolis has never wanted to make Mack the starter. Mack is a very good player, but Jonathan Taylor looks like a very special, explosive, ridiculous running back. And I would be happy after getting my high-end players to just have Jonathan Taylor at the number 2 spot. It's not like I get to start all 4 running backs. It's not like I can't get another. It's not like I can't alternate between a Singletary and a Jonathan Taylor and just ignore Mack. I can't pay for Mack. Not with Jonathan Taylor waiting in the wings. And so it starts to get a little scary. Marlon Mack is going for $2. The auction drafts are telling you people are done with Marlon Mack. This is Jonathan Taylor's team. And then I'll just mention, because this is about the level when the tight ends become relevant in here. And tight ends are back. There are so many tight end options. Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Gronkowski, Zach Ertz, Andrews, Hooper, Evan Ingram. It's so deep there. I'm not going to spend up on tight end. That's not how I'm doing it this season. There's a whole nother tier of Higbee, Goddard, Henry, Doyle, Jonnu Smith, and Ebron that'll all be okay to just run out there on a week-to-week basis. But I figured I'd mention because Kelsey, Waller, and Kittle at least are very productive target monster, target hogs getting the ball. And the reason, so those running backs that you can't leave that section of RB without at least your RB2. I don't know if you can trust an RB1 at that level. I mean, are you ready to run out only Miles Sanders? I don't know, because it's just backfield splits. It's just backfield splits, and this is why I say the depth charts are so important. The place that's really doing a nice job with depth charts is lineups.com. NFL depth charts, they're doing a pretty good job there. ESPN's got them. A lot of different places are doing them. Is it Cam Akers going to take over with the Rams, or is it D. Henderson, or is it a committee? Is Kerryon Johnson going to stay healthy, or is DeAndre Smith going to start to take over there? Is David Montgomery going to show up to play? Is he everything we thought he would be? Well, Tariq's stealing all the passing. Is Ronald Jones going to explode with Tom Brady, or will one blitz pickup mistake where Tom takes a linebacker to the back going to end Ronald Jones' career or tenure there? Keyshawn Vaughn is the rookie to watch out with there. What's going on in San Francisco? Mostert? Tevin Coleman, who just refuses to seize a job? Breida's gone. McKinnon looks healthy. He looks healthy right now. So is McKinnon going to do it for me there? Are you willing to pay for any of it? Mostert? Are you ready at Mostert every week? Maybe. He doesn't seem to carry the. It seems like he gets sprinkled in for big play. We've got to deal with Connor. White can't really play for me. We've got Peterson for the Redskins. It just really gets bad. And that's it for running backs. That's it. That's it. Jordan Howard and Breida, it doesn't. There's only one running back per team. But for wide receivers, there's 2 or 3, putting us at 60 wide receivers. Everybody we've named so far for wide receiver has been a potential stud. Add in Deontay Johnson. Add in Christian Kirk. Deebo Samuel. Who do you like out of Cooks, Fuller V, Stills? What's going to happen there? I love Darius Slayton. I'm starting to believe in Jones for the Giants. What am I going to do there? Marvin Jones can't really play for me. Emmanuel Sanders, it's amazing that he's come back from Achilles and he just has sensational route running and catch. Michael Pittman Jr. in Indianapolis. Mecole Hardman. You like Tyreek, you got to like Hardman. Mike Williams, the Robbie Anderson. So you see it starts to thin out. We're going to have to pay up and get the right pieces late. And I'll just close it out on this. This was a little conversation of what I'm going to do. We're going to try to set the bell. I've named some targets here of guys that I've got my eye on. I'm going to go push the auction around. I'm going to get some values, and I'm going to come back to you guys, and I'll tighten some of this up and I'll evaluate it. But I got to close out on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire going for $40. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm watching tape. I'm watching LSU tape. He's small. He's a little small. He's 5'8" or 5'9". He can catch a little bit. But then I go to his combine scores, and he runs a 4.6 40. Oh, just a 4.6? I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a 4.4. A.J. Dillon's running like a 4.42. How is Clyde Edwards-Helaire going to survive as almost a micro back with a 4.6 40? I'm not seeing special jukes. I'm seeing a special LSU program that's filled with NFL Farm League that dominates other talent so that everybody looks like they play up. But Edwards-Helaire, how are you going to do it with low combine scores? Andy Reid is not going to be happy when Edwards-Helaire can't pick up blitz and Mahomes is getting slammed. And I just wonder if we're just running away, just mentally just running away with the fact that Edwards-Helaire is going to take over in this Kansas City offense, that he's a complete stud, like we thought about who was it last season? Damian Williams. Damian Williams, the running back who just didn't get it done. We thought that when he fell into the role, it was going to all come together. And then he opts out. So it's not like Andy made the decision that Edwards-Helaire was going to be an every down back because he didn't know about the opt-out until after the draft. And if he had known about that, maybe they would have picked somebody who could carry a 3-down load. So no, Edwards-Helaire for 40? Gosh, I guess I'm just going to have to be wrong, but it was Damian Williams who opted out. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it on Edwards-Helaire, who might be one of my bigger kind of busts on the radar. Those are my targets. I love Deebo Samuel. I just wanted to mention a couple other late wide receivers, which shows how much money you really have to save, is you still have Marquise Brown, who I think is an absolute superstar. He wasn't at 100% last season. He has amazing catch. Lamar Jackson just keeps getting better and better. Where are you going to put in Marquise Brown? And then a couple wide receivers that we got to realize for these rookies, and sure the rookies might not pan out, but they're still fun to own. Henry Ruggs III. Ruggs III, if he can catch, he's an elite stud. He is explosive, super fast, super explosive player, big play threat. Justin Jefferson filling in for Diggs at 6'4" with good speed could be a threat. I love Jerry Jeudy and the ball skills and the open field skills. He could be demanding second wide receiver next to Sutton, but then he's held down by Drew Lock a little bit. CeeDee Lamb at Dallas, who probably isn't ready to blow up as the number 3 because Gallup and Amari are there, and Jalen Reagor at Philadelphia. Just, again, showing how deep wide receiver goes. There's other names there, Ross 3, Lazar, Anthony Miller. So you see the strategy here. I'll come back. I'm going to let you know how it goes. I got the draft coming up at 7. It's 3:30 now. After the draft, I'm going to hop over and watch a little bit of UFC as Daniel Cormier gets it going. Holler at your boy. Welcome back. Let's do some fantasy football. Let's do fantasy football auction draft strategy. I'll get back at you. Lates.